Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing the branded Despia profile, so let's get started with the spells. So to start, we actually have the standard 3 branded fusion, and of course the standard 3 branded opening. And then I play 1 branded in red, 1 high spirits, a lot of people like this including myself, 1 lost, and 1 branded retribution. All these are self-explanatory, you don't really gotta go into detail. Next, we have 3 cross-out and 3 fusion deployment. These are also pretty self-explanatory. I play this in the main deck for a specific reason, which I'll get to when I talk about the monsters. Now, moving on into the monsters, of course we play the standard 3 Fallen Valbaz. I play 2 Cartesia. I would have liked to play 3, but there's no space in the main deck. The main deck is 42 cards. I try and keep it as close to 40 as possible. You'll see why is a second as well. Single Mercurier, Kit, and an Albion. All these are, again, are self-explanatory. Most people run 2 of these, but I just don't see a need either. Not enough space, like I said earlier. So moving on to the Despia stuff, we play 3 Eluber. This is pretty standard for every list. I play 1 Quem, and I play 1 Tragedy, along with 1 Ad Libitum. So I actually don't play the Gimmick Puppet block, which is why I play this. I don't like the Gimmick Puppet block. I have the means to do so, but I actually don't think it's very fair or fun. But you can definitely switch this out for a Gimmick Puppet and change some things around. Like, the deck is very flexible in that way, especially the way that I built it. Next up, moving on to a little bit of the Bestial package. I do in fact play more than 2 Bestials. So I play 1 Libellion, I play 1 Sauronier, and I play 1 Magnemite. This format, the Magnemite, is really good. If once Snake Eyes format is done, I don't really see a need to play this. This is mainly for the Voiceless Voice Snake Eyes matchup as well. And even it works really well against the Tyrion and Mirror matches. But keeping in the main deck is nice because a lot of main deck users, like IP is a big card, so that's mainly the reason why we play this. And then Low special summons herself, so we also use that for that reason. But that's pretty much it. Moving on to a hand trap lineup. Yes, this deck in fact does play hand traps. Of course you would know why from the crossout. So I actually do play 3 Ash. This is in fact for the crossout lineup. But it also comes up a lot in mirror matches, it comes up a lot in voiceless matches, it comes up a lot in pretty much every match. I know that Hida is still a card, and people try to play around her by not playing Ash, but like, I don't know, Ash is just a very good card, and I see it a lot, and it really puts in the work, so I think it's good at 3, I don't think it needs to be changed. Then I also play 3 Effect Veiler. This would not be in the main deck with at all, actually, but the reason why I play is 2 reasons. 1, it is a light spellcaster, so, and it has attack and defense equal to each other, which is an added bonus. 2, it also is a nice target effect, so you can target things in chain, which is always really nice. And you can use it as a fusion material. So those are the 3 nice things about it. I can get a little bit more in detail in a bit. But basically, this is really good for this format in particular, where Snake Eyes just chains a bunch of stuff and you need to negate. Speaking of chaining and negating, we do play, in fact, 3 Imperm. These are the 9 hand traps that I play in the main deck. I can't really fit any more. Again, I said I try and stay close to 40 as much as possible. But yeah, this list actually did snag me 4th place within my locals. And my locals is quite large. Like, I don't know, I usually get anywhere between 20 to 40 people, so sometimes it could be really large and other times it could be really small, so yeah, it really just depends on what you're playing. Now for the extra deck. So now for the extra deck lineup, we actually do play mostly standard stuff, but I'll get to that in a second. So basically we just play 2 Mirror Jade, which is pretty standard, 2 Albion, which is also standard, but normally people only play 1 Rebellion, but I actually like to play 2. It's good in case it gets negated or if you're under shifter, and I'll talk about why more I play this card. I'll get to that in a second. I also play 1 Alba Relentless. This actually came in handy in the original, it did come up. sorry, not regional, it came up in the tournament that I played in yesterday. This was really nice for the Tenpai matchup, and I can explain how in a second. This also comes up every so often, the Windburn. Not too often, but it does make a difference sometimes when you really need it. And of course the Titaniclad, which is nice to get over for Cash and many other decks. This one you mostly will send off to get off the Quen from your deck, which is why like I play it. So moving on, I actually have more extra deck slots specifically for the Despia and Cartesia lineup. So for the Despia Cartesia lineup, I actually play Granule at 1. I'm thinking about running this at 2 because it actually is really nice, and I don't play Grounded 3 Game anymore. You may have noticed that when I was showing my list. And so playing 2 would be really nice, but sometimes it is relevant to make again. But most of the time you won't, but when it is relevant, it's really nice. And of course I play the 1/4. Most people have cut this out entirely, but I think this could be a win condition on its own sometimes. This format is not particularly good, but it has seen a lot of usage, specifically against the Snake Guys matchup, because they'll try and destroy it, and then because it was the special summon monster left my field, then I'm able to special summon an Albaz or a Despia monster. So you can either go into Luger with this and get a Branded Fusion for follow-up, or you could just make Albaz, and then Albaz goes into Mirror Jade, which is also really nice. And so we actually have some generic fusions as well, which is the last 3 fusions in the extra deck, which is 1 Guiding Chimera. This is pretty standard as well. Everybody's running this thing branded. I play the 1 Borload Furious. Again, a lot of people started playing this more. This didn't really come up, but when it does come up, it actually is really relevant and can win games on its own depending on what the matchup is, especially if it's Runic. And then the 1 Preda, you'd be playing this if you play Super Poly in the main or you don't, which I will get back to that in a second. But yeah, that's basically the last 3 fusions. But there was only 14 cards of the extra deck, so the last card that I allocated to this extra deck was actually Despia and Wolf, which came in massive handy against the Tenpai matchups that I've had. And this alone actually helped me win games because of the negate portion of the effect, which allowed me to negate the Tenpai field spell. And then afterwards, I'd be able to resolve all of my effects, such as a double banish off of Mirror Jade, which is crazy enough. And I can also get more fusions off, which is actually how the Alba Lamatis came in handy, because I did special summon during an end phase. I managed to special summon an Albaz from my deck, and then from there I was able to fuse into Alba, and then I just had game because I just had too much to handle for the Tenpai player. So we will move on. Moving on to the side deck, I actually do play 1 extra deck card, which is just the Gurura, and I actually don't main extra deck this for a reason, and the reason is like I can't find enough space for it. I actually don't play Dragoon anymore, and the reason for that is because normally you'd see people running the Gimmick Lock, and then they'd have this in the extra deck with the Gimmick. But I just like all the options that Albaz has, and it does come up very often for me to go into the different options that I do have. And this 1 card is actually really nice because I do in fact play Super Poly as well. So yeah, it could be better, but it's whatever. So that's the extra deck portion of that. For the monster lineup, for the main deck monster lineup, I just play 3 Joel. In hindsight, honestly, I think I should be playing Nibiru as well, at minimum. I used to play Nibiru, Droll, and both Bestials, Magnuma, and Jewsworm, but I switched some stuff around because the old variant of the deck, it wasn't that it bricked a lot, but it did see a lot of like very poor hands that you can brick on if your Branded Fusion gets Ash Blossom and you just don't have the crossout for it. So that's why like I should play more, but the Droll actually did come in handy for one of my matches in like round 1. But yeah, overall this is a nice card to have. It comes up every so often in a few formats, so it's nice. Moving on to the spell lineup, we actually do play the 3 Super Poly. This is mainly for the mirror match than anything else. I do come across a lot of other branded players, so it's really nice to just draw that and be able to resolve it. My deck really doesn't care if you branded fusion it. Sorry, super poly my board. If you super poly my stuff away, usually I'll get effects off during the end phase, which is nice. And even if not, I usually have other means of continuing the game state anyway. So super poly is a nice tool to have, but I don't know, it's not super important. So moving on, I actually play, for the back row hate, I play 3 Cosmic Cyclone and I play 1 Harpies. In the event, actually, this didn't come up like at all. And most of the time, like, I expect heavy back row decks. I have a lot of friends that play stun, and so like usually these are really nice to have, but honestly you can cut out the duster and this is enough. Realistically it's enough because most floodgates are at 1 now or straight up banned, like summon limit, so you don't really need the harpies. The harpies is nice to have, but like I think I'm going to change it out for something else because it's not relevant. It really isn't. And so moving on, the last 3 anti-hand traps that I play 2 tactics. Playing 3 is nice, but I don't really see a need for it. It's nice for when you don't really have anything to side out against, because there's been a couple of times that I just didn't have anything necessarily, and I don't want to allocate a lot of my side deck space to extra deck monsters. But this is really nice to have because sometimes it's like game winning on its own. It actually has won me a couple of games by using the take control effect or looking at my opponent's hand. The draw 2 is also really nice because you get advantage. It's like Pot of Greed, of course. And then of course I play the 1 called by. This did not come up at all. This did come up. I'm thinking about cutting this as well. This is like basically irrelevant now. The only time that I can see this actually being useful is if your opponent is targeting a monster in the graveyard and you just don't want them to have that monster for whatever reason, or if they're using Shifter. That is the only 2 times that this really comes up in Branded. And you could argue, yes, Ash Blossom, but that's what the crossout is usually for. And so like this, I never sided this in. I think there was maybe 1 game I sided it in and it never came up. I never drew into it. And most of the time when I do put this, like when I had this in the main deck, it didn't really do anything, so I just left it as is. I actually do play 1 more card in the side deck though, and that is the D-Barrier, which I think I'm going to put more in. The specific reason for me playing only 1 of this, I used to play 3 to combat Tempai, but then Tempai doesn't really care about this. Like they do, but they don't. It's kind of hard to explain. Most of the matchups that I've had against Tempai, like this deck really struggles. The way that it's built, it really struggles against Tempai. So it's kind of amazing that I was able to beat even 1 of the decks during the event. But yeah, like this comes up against the lab mirror matches. Lab matches, but yeah, this also comes up like generically as well. Like most of the time I'll be playing against somebody at an event and they'll just flip over, call D-Barrier call Fusion, and then you'd be able to cross it out so that they can't use it anymore. And the good news is that even though it's a 1-of, I don't know if you guys are unlucky as I am, but if you open this and you're able to get Kit out on the field, Kit can put this back in the deck. So if you have like Crossout in your hand, for example, and you have the 1 D-Barrier, you can put this card back, and usually they'll wait for you to activate the Branded Fusion, right? Because if you have it in your hand, then it's just follow up for the next turn. So they'll wait for you to play it, and then that'll allow you to put this back into the deck and then play it later, cross it out later, because you'll have the Crossout in hand at that point. And there have been a couple of games that actually did come up. Luckily not this event, because not many people are playing D-Barrier terms of like at all, but like this does come up every so often. Every time I go to like an event, there is times that this is relevant. And with that said, that is pretty much the entire deck, extra deck and side deck. I know that there are things that need to be changed in here, like the side deck is just not really that great. If you guys have any recommendations, you can let me know. I already have a feeling as to what I'm going to change, realistically. I can't see like certain cards like Harpy staying in here, or even like the Called By, so I could switch those out for like the two Book of Eclipse that I got from yesterday. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and like and subscribe. See you guys.